Hey, welcome to the next installment of the Big Co Show. It's your boy Big Co. Mastermind had the night off. He's with his family, doing family stuff. We have a great show ahead of us tonight. We got some friends of mine that are going to come on. We're going to talk about, education. There's been a lot of changes since COVID. We got a lot of kids that are going virtual school. We got some still going face to face. So one of the things that was important to me was, talking to the educators and the people that are on the front lines with this, because as a parent, only see one side of the coin. I'm only preparing one student every day, actually two students for me. I'm only working with two students, every day. But these teachers and administrators, they're working with hundreds of students, and some anywhere from 25, 30 plus per class to hundreds of students. So I brought some great educators, some great people, some great friends of mine on the show today, just to kind of have a conversation about what it looks like from their side of the coin, and definitely want to keep that bridge built between like both the teachers, the administrators, as well as the parents, so that we could do the best things that we could do for these babies, because it's a new situation for everybody. So we're out doing this for the first time. So this is the new normal. So today, our co-stars, first we have Dr. Ashley Hosey. Welcome to the show, Doc. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Cole. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me out, man.
Thanks for being on, man. So, go ahead and tell people a little bit about yourself. I know you, but introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, everybody, I'm Ashley B. Hosey. I'm 24 years in the education game. Started my 12 years of principal, 7 at high, 4 elementary. This is my first year at middle. And although my doctorate is from the University of Alabama, Little Roll Tide, the undergrad's from the University of Georgia. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Welcome to the show, bro. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
And next up, we have my brother, Coleman. Coleman, how you doing, Mr. Edie?
I'm good, sir. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Doing well, man. Tell the people a little bit about yourself. I'm sure a lot of people watching this know both of y'all, because a lot of these are our friends in our circle anyway. But for the people that don't know you, tell them a little bit about yourself, brother.
All right. So my name is Coleman Eaton, and I am a middle school teacher now presently, but I've spent 12 years in the high school level. So I've been 2 years in the middle school. I'm at David T. Howard Middle School in Atlanta Public Schools right now. Just doing my thing in the classroom and just trying to, change the lives of kids every day.
Awesome. Next on the show, Derek Johnson. Derek, how are you doing this fine evening, sir?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
Doing well, man. I like the scenery, like you out in the great outdoors.
I had to get out the house. My son is doing his homework right now.
Yeah.
This is his time.
A little bit about yourself, sir.
First off, I'd like to say that I don't like to be in this room with all these Georgia fans. This is troubling to me, but I'm gonna go ahead and accept it. But I went to the greatest school on earth, Morris Brown College.
Okay, Morris Brown.
Hold on, the Morris Brown College.
Okay.
I've been in the education field for about 5 years as a pair behavior specialist, and now as a special ed teacher in DeKalb County.
Awesome.
I came kind of late to the education game. I worked in corporate America before I got here. So this is trying to get adjusted.
Yeah. So I think I knew that, but what were you doing before?
Actually, I was a probation officer for a number of years for adult and juvenile. And then before that, when I first graduated from college, I was a management consultant.
Gotcha.
So I've been all over.
So you saying that you're not comfortable being on the call with all these Georgia fans? Are you the trade school or North Avenue? Like, what's your team?
You said what?
What team do you root for?
Any team that could beat Georgia.
Wow, y'all hear that?
We can do Georgia Tech. We can do whatever y'all want to do.
Anybody but Georgia? Okay.
Anybody but Georgia.
I'm not gonna hold that against you, bro. Like, I made a post on my page the other day. I don't understand everybody's choices or agree with them, but I love people that make choices that I don't understand or agree with. So we can roll with that. We can roll with that.
Love it.
And next we have my BFF, Karma T. Jackson. Hello, Karma.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Karma, why don't you go ahead and give them your deets?
Just say nothing but love because I'm tired. Tired. It's been a long day. You want me to give a little bio? I have been teaching for 13 years. I am a gifted Montessori teacher. I teach elementary level, and I'm still in love with my job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and sorry, friend, but I'm a dog too. Sorry.
Yeah, she is indeed. She is indeed. She is indeed. Now, I'm trying to bring Tara on. It's not letting me get to her. We have Tara Troy on the line as well. And for some reason, it's not allowing me to bring her on. We just talked about this, all right, Ashley? Technology. Hold on 1 second. All right, so I'm going to get Tara up. And I apologize, Tara, that we're having issues bringing you on. That's crazy. Let's see. But first question I wanted to ask to the panel, to everybody, and I'm gonna bring Tara on as soon as I figure out how to bring Tara on. The first question I want to ask you, so go around the horn and just tell us like what grade level that you're working with, and then what have been some of the primary like changes from this whole virtual environment from the previous year. And then we can start with you, Dr. Hose. I know you're in an administrative capacity, but I'm sure you have a lot of same challenges.
Yeah, when this whole pandemic started, I was at an elementary school. So that was a whole different set of issues, whole different set of challenges, because there was I call it the wild, wild west of digital learning, because nobody knew what to do. And it was a challenge trying to get young kids online. Some of their parents had to work, some of them didn't, and you didn't have that how to engage them in what capacity. And now switching to middle school in the middle of the pandemic, the digital gap, that's the biggest problem. People don't have computers. People can't connect. People don't have Wi-Fi at home. So that's been the challenge of trying to connect the kids who can, and then try to find out what to do with those you can't. And then try to find the ones you hadn't heard from and where they are.
Yep.
So that's been our big, that's what I've seen as a big challenge as administrators. The teachers, you put kids in front of them digital or face-to-face, they're going to teach. They're going to do their best. But it's making that connection. That's what I see my job as right now. And that's my biggest challenge.
So what are some of the things that you're doing like to kind of combat that?
Man, I'm doing everything but dancing outside the school, man. We're doing it all. Our district is doing a job of trying to get devices. We're trying to donate devices. We pretty much cleaned out the school of every device we had that wasn't a desktop and got out to kids. We handed some out today. So I've been trying to use Twitter and Instagram to connect with kids. Then I realized middle school kids legally can't have social media accounts, but I've been connecting with their parents, email blasts, phone calls, using the social worker, just any tricks you come up with. Facebook, I know people on Facebook in the community, they post this on your page. Let the people know they can come here and do that. So it's been a little bit of both because it's hard. It's really trying to reach people. And being new at my school, I don't know the kids, haven't really met a lot of the kids because we've been in the COVID situation, or the parents. So it's been a lot of making videos. I do a TV show every morning pretty much. Got to do some episodes tonight. You just do it all and put it out there and hope that something hits,
Yeah. So with, supplies and equipment being an issue, like what is the community doing? Like, are you getting assistance from like the community around the school?
Yes.
Filling gaps?
That's been really good. Our community steps up over in Cobb. I just got, for example, a donation from a church of like 50 vegetable boxes to give food to families, and we're gonna scramble to get those out. We've got some new computers. We're handing those out today and tomorrow. The community stepped up. I got a donation of supplies. Some coming tomorrow, so we're giving a supply give out next week and supplemental material give out next week. So our community really stepped up because everybody's feeling the hurt. So people are really stepping up.
No, that's awesome, man. I've heard a lot of stories like that. So that's very uplifting. So I was able to get Tara on. Hello, Tara.
Hello, everybody. How are y'all?
Hey.
All right. How you doing?
Finally, the last dog is in the house.
Yeah, my bad. It was my screen was too small and it didn't have it where I could click the button.
Hey.
I'm trying to chase the button down. This is new. This is only the fourth show. You know what I mean? So bear with me on these technical difficulties. Tara, introduce yourself to the people. Beautiful lady.
So you already know I am a graduate of the University of Georgia. This is only my 6th year in education, but I was a computer programmer at Delta Airlines for 15 years before I decided to get into education. I am a high school geometry algebra 1 teacher at Hayfield Charter over in Fulton County. So I teach at a charter school, so it's a little bit different for us being charter, but we're still having some of the same challenges that everyone else is having. But
Yeah,
thank
at
you
what grade level?
for having me on the shore. 9th and 10th grade, but of course, your algebra 1 and your geometry, they are required math courses. So sometimes I have juniors and seniors in my class who have to retake those courses in order to graduate.
Yeah, so you had something on the board. It
9
was
through
a
12.
problem. I don't know what it was, but it gave me a headache just even looking at trying to figure out how to figure it out.
Yes, that
So-
was my accelerated geometry class. They're in the circles and volume unit. So I had a lot of circles, diameters, radii, inscribed angles, all of that going on.
God bless you. Because I had no idea what was going on. Coleman, what about you? Same question. So, like, what have been some of the challenges being virtual? Like so y'all are virtual, right?
Yes, we are.
What have been some of the challenges or some, that you've had to overcome in this? And how long y'all been in session?
So this is the end of our second week of school. So we're in APS. And I think my biggest challenge is I'm a relationship guy. I build a lot of relationships with my students. I do, I'm the guy who kind of, looks out for, the kids and make sure that they, they in the heart, they get to where they need to be, all that type of stuff, and making sure that, if I see a kid, not looking good that day, I ask that question, what's going on, that type of thing. And so, my biggest thing right now is trying to build those relationships during this time when I can't basically see, touch them. So we're doing a lot of flip grids, a lot of challenges that way, just trying to build some relationships so I can get to know my kids better. I don't have we have challenges with technology, but I don't have a similar challenges. My school has a foundation where we have basically we have over $100,000 a year donated by the parents to to supplement what's not given from the from the APS. So whether it be computers or whether it be USA Test Prep or any type of program that we need, we pretty much got free reign to it. So we have the same. I have kids that basically I stay in my school is in Candler Park, Freedom Parkway. What's that? This other area. Basically by Ponce City Market in that area. So I have a mix of students. I got kids who basically living in $1 million plus homes to kids who living on Boulevard and Parkway who live in in Section 8 apartments and just getting by. And so we dealing with I got a mix of kids in classrooms. So I got I have a good amount of kids. Basically probably 95% of my kids showing up. And my biggest issue is the kids that look like me who are not showing up. Who I have to go find, who I have to go, send extra calls and whatever. And so, those relationships that I can make in person, I got to make them, on the phone or on a Zoom call and, that type of thing. So just trying to figure out how to make that work. I've been doing, Friday, been giving away meals, giving away lunches to a student out of each class and, delivering, lunch myself to those students. Just trying to do something different. Put my face out there just so they can see that I'm bigger than the computer screen.
Right. And one of the things that has always been impressive, like with all of y'all, like I follow everybody here on social media, so I get to see the interactions and some of the things, the stories that I've read about things that you've done for the kids, and some of the things that like all of y'all done. But it was something really, really cool. I think it had something to do with a kid. I think it was last year that I think didn't have clothes or something like that. Coleman.
Yeah. So my mom, she called me. She almost like I bring stray cats home sometimes. In the sense of because I have. So basically, I'm gonna give you a little history, a little background. So I have a kid who's 27, non-biological, who he was on my baseball team, and basically needs some help with school and whatever. So I took him in. Then I had a girl who was in my sophomore. She was a sophomore in my class, and basically she had some issues at home with her mom and her aunt. And so I let her stay, basically got her with my mom to stay with my mom. And, she finished high school and, I think she turned 30 this year. So just whenever I see a student who needs, if I have it, they're going to get it. So, I do without, I tell my kids all the time, we watch movies where kids eat one time a day, if that. And it's like, if they can do it and still survive, we can. So we're just trying to find ways to, basically be innovative, but also, have some empathy and, and be out there. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Derek, you're in special ed, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that you have, because I can imagine there are a little bit a set of different types of challenges. I would imagine.
Just being able to provide services for these kids is a lot. A lot of them are like very hands-on. So us not being there, it's a disconnect. And the kids they can't stay focused and interested and engaged like they would in a normal classroom setting.
Right.
But as far as just the overall issues that we occur, technology issue, I'm at a very low income school. So you see the gap.
Right.
And the issue I have a lot of times is I have a son that goes to school in a different county. That's, his school is the same grade level, same second grade, but the level of education and the resources are completely different.
Right.
And that's troubling. Like, I'm looking at my son, I'm like, wow, if my kids at my school had these resources, man, you don't know what they could do. I mean, they'd be amazing, but I mean, unfortunately, it's just depends on your zip code and the resources that you get. So, I mean, we're having to chase kids down. It's the 14th. I think this is our 14th day of school. We got kids that still haven't logged in. We're calling parents, trying to figure out where they're at, trying to figure out what they need. The parents are frustrated because they got 5 or 6 kids, 2 devices, so they can't log in. They're sharing devices, so it's a struggle. And I think a lot of times parents don't realize that this is a partnership.
Right.
You can't expect us to do it on our own. We need some help.
Yeah.
And these parents, and I get it because you got to work. We got single mothers, single fathers that's working, hourly shifts, so they can't take off. They can't work from home. So it's been a battle, man. It's
Yeah.
It's been a
I
battle.
want to switch gears, like with Tara, because just kind of piggybacking on what Derek said, because it is an absolute partnership, right? So Tara, for you, what have been some of the challenges, outside of facility? I mean, equipment, things of that nature. Are you seeing some of the, because you have older students, which are a little bit more self-sufficient, but are you seeing some of those same issues with parent involvement or getting people to log in and get kids to be engaged? Oh, hold on one second. My bad, Tara. I'm so sorry. All right, there we go. How about now? There you go.
Right. Can y'all hear me?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Unfortunately, we are having some of the same challenges. And for me, because I'm so passionate about what I do, it's frustrating when you have 39 kids logged on. They don't want to turn their cameras on. You're calling their names. They're not answering, and with math being a subject that our kids a lot of them are weak in, it's more of a challenge. Right. Because we have the option of working from home or going in the building. And at first I said, well, I'm gonna work from home. Then I thought about it. I said, I can't teach math from home. I had to be in the building with my boards, with my iPad, with all of those things, so I could feel like I was in that environment, so I could be in that place where I could teach these kids better. Because that's what it's about. At the end of the day, it's about them learning, them retaining what I'm teaching, and trying to get them engaged, because all of us, we're in a pandemic.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of a pandemic, and we got to make the best of what we're going through. Some kids, like he said, they haven't logged on since we started. And this is our 3rd week. So we're in our 3rd week of school, and we have kids who have not logged on as of yet. and the parents are frustrated. I've gotten several ugly emails from parents this week where I have just had to put on my smile and, be nice and say, both of us are in this together. This is new for us. And a lot of it, it's like first year teaching all over again because we're having to learn new things. It's new for everybody.
Yeah. And one of the things that like Derek touched on about, parents having to work, that's absolutely, a challenge, right? It's absolutely a challenge. But I have a lot of teacher friends, right? So I've seen some stories where, you might be talking to the kid and they're asking where the mom is or where the parent is, and they're asleep. They're there, but they're not asleep. And then you have the flip side of the coin. I have some friends, like a matter of fact, one of our mutual friends, she put up a post the other day about, she's trying to close business. She's trying to, run a meeting, and still try to help the kids do school. So it's absolutely about, I said at the beginning of the year, I pray for all of y'all for everything that y'all do, because I understand how it is dealing with parents. Like, we can be crazy. And I haven't coached before. I understand challenging parents. So what is it, if we pull the curtain back, and anybody can answer this question, what is it that the parents aren't understanding?
What do you mean?
That you need from them? Somebody has some feedback, y'all. I'm not sure who.
Okay, you said what the parents need?
Yeah, I think it's Utah. With it's got some feedback. One mute.
Okay.
You.
Yep.
All right. So what are some of the things that like the parents don't understand about your day to day? Like what it takes, because I don't think they understand what it takes to prepare for virtual learning. So if anybody that wants to answer, kind of walk me through, what this new situation looks like you from a preparation standpoint.
Well, I'll start off a little bit. I think that parents don't really understand the behind the scenes work, because this is more work than we did when we was in school.
Yes.
I was talking about we doing meetings, we doing PD, we doing lesson plans, digital lesson plans, it's a lot of work.
Exhausting.
And what I don't think parents understand is they think that we just showing up, getting on Zoom and just sitting there.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, like, we're sitting on Zoom with 10 or 12 kids. We got kids cutting flips in the Zoom, parents walking by, like it's a lot of distractions. So we're trying to maintain a learning environment, and they don't understand how hard that is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, just managing that whole environment. Yeah, I mean, we in the classroom, we had, everything was there. You can kind of, you can put your hands on things, but you got to doggone to somebody blast out or does something in your class, you on Zoom, you got to find the button to unmute them or get them, put them in a waiting room or whatever. And hey, that might take you a minute. So I'll kind of, held them broke loose in that minute. So it's just, it's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of different parts, moving. And like my man Derek said, the parents, this is a partnership. And so the parents need to understand that, yes, we are providing them instruction, we're providing them guidance to learn, but at the same time, just like before when it came to learning, their involvement is key. And so the more involved the parents are in that education process, the more success they're going to see from their student. And so it's a partnership. And so we all understand that it's a partnership. We all going to be better.
And Cole, if I can jump on what the gentleman just said, one of the things that parents don't really get, and I take my hat off to the teacher because I don't get to teach anymore. But what teachers don't understand, a lot of our educators got kids too. And a lot of them are sacrificing that time to be with their child for the student. And a lot of people don't see that part. Part of my job, and the hardest part about my job, is keeping that morale up for my teachers, because this work is exhausting. This is a new type of tired. Yeah. And you go home exhausted, and you're given, because I'm being principal and I'm in first grade physical class where I'm trying to do Zoom meetings, fourth grade class in the background, trying to get parents to understand that we're all in this together. It's not easy for anybody. And I have teachers, I've been trying to hey, work from home. Don't worry about coming to the building. What do you need? How can we help you? Because they got kids too. They're teaching all day, trying to help their kids do their work. And the kid who usually gets the short end of the stick are our kids. And I don't think people see that. And that's the hard part. That's the real hard part.
And I heard, I think one of my friends said that when the pandemic first started, teachers was the hero. Parents didn't realize exactly what we did, but now we've become the villain. So now it's like everybody's at our throat, but they don't understand. Like, hey, like he said, we have kids. We're trying to do the same thing. We're all learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we'll see.
And the internet going out is not our fault. That's what it needs to do. Internet going out is not our fault,
right?
Internet going
Zoom
out.
crashing is not your fault either. You know what I mean? So we got some questions coming in, from the Facebook feed. One of our homies, my dog, Thomas Morris, had a great question. And I think this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about, because honestly, I think parents use a lot of educators be suburban. You know what I mean? It's like, and I personally, I'm not that guy. But one of the questions that Thomas had to anybody, and Tara, I didn't mean to not let you chime in on that, but you could definitely jump in. But he wants to know, do you feel mentally and emotionally supported? Now, I'm not trying to throw any administrators under the bus, but I'm just saying, like, not necessarily from the parents, but like from other staff members, other teachers, other members of the school system, because it's a mentally and physically draining job, right? So what does it do? Like, do you feel like you're being mentally and physically supported from the school system itself?
I'll start off. I think our administrators are trying to do the best they can, but a lot of times you got to understand what they're getting is coming from other people. It's coming from the district, so their hands are tied just like our hands are tied. So it's like we're all in this together. And I mean, you see a lot of teachers that's on the verge of breaking down. They're breaking down after school, just saying, "Hey, I can't deal with it no more." But every day they get up and they keep coming. And I think that's what people got to understand. Like, I think the true test or the true reflection of this year is going to be next year if those teachers return.
Yeah,
because that's going to be because I mean they'll fulfill their contract, but if they return next year, it's going to be interesting. But I mean, I think like at my school we support everybody. Like if you need help, we helping. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, we're all in this battle together. So we have to do what we have to do.
Yeah, I think the support is there. Everybody basically understands what is going on. You do have people who try to, some of your administrators, try to add, a lot of, busy work to it, to the plan. And we just try. I mean, as for me, for myself personally, I made, personal decisions as to, what basically what needs to get done, and then what can get done and what I'm not gonna do. And so it's just like, one of those things. You just got to make a personal decision. And I made that decision a long time ago. It's just like, you're not gonna steal my happiness. You're not gonna steal my joy. I'm gonna try to keep, two lives separate as far as, my home life and my school life, and try to do that. And so, I think we've been getting a lot of support, and just communicating with our administrator and just letting them know that, hey, this ain't gonna work. We're not doing that. And so, and not getting too much feedback or drawback on that.
Right. Sorry, you have anything to add to that? Oh, I got her muted. I'm sorry. That's on me. Sorry. I'm sorry, boo. I'm so sorry. All right, go. I'm sorry.
At the charter, as we say, we call it the charter. At the charter, we're unfortunately in transition because our principal just left. But we had an amazing principal who supported us in everything. She backed us up. I mean, teachers, we're like a family at the charter. Yeah. So it's like we support each other. We have even our own separate little group, what I'm saying, where we text little things, good morning, have a great day, and just sharing little things, just to keep each other motivated. Yeah. Because all the time you're not going to be motivated, but you have to be disciplined to continue to do, what you're supposed to do. But I love my job. I love the coworkers that I have. I love our admin team. So I'm just hoping that whoever comes in to fill her shoes fits right in and is that supportive admin that we really need at the charter.
Yeah, at the charter.
The
Now,
charter.
Coleman says on something that I never really thought about. Well, okay. So when we talk about, and I know Coleman, you were at Clayco at one point, right?
Yep.
So it's like night and day being over there, where you are now. From a resource perspective, one of the things that Coleman said that I'm the same way. I'm a relationship guy. It just dawned on me when I think it was Dr. Ashley said that I think Derek said that the two test is going to be next year when he comes back. And one of the things that I just thought about, like as he was saying that, is a lot of teachers that are teaching in areas that aren't astute areas or at-risk areas. A lot of those teachers are doing it for the love of the kids, and I can just y'all tell me, I can just see a situation where if I'm virtual, right, I don't have that connection for the kids. So if I'm dealing with all these outside forces that makes it difficult for me to work in this situation in the first place, now I don't have that connection to pull me. Like, can you see that being also maybe an adverse effect on education or teachers staying in school systems that don't have a lot of resources?
You hit it right on the head. That's a huge one. Been in a new school where I'm at, I'm in a different part of my county. My county is like 5 different counties depending on where you are.
Right.
So I'm back on the south side, close to where I started out. But with the teachers, it's been really hard because they don't have that motivation that they normally get. That hug from the kid, the kid that comes and just hangs out with them. Or like Coleman said, that they get to meet up in the hallway, you check in on. That's been super hard. And being a principal that's new to my staff, I've really been trying to build that relationship connection with each other and finding new ways to connect. And extended 3 things: flexibility, patience, and grace. Those are 3 words that I've introduced myself with them about. And that's what we stay on. You got to be flexible. You got to be patient with everybody. You guys can everybody grace because we got to get through this together. So I've been really working hard on that team building part because one of my goals is to make sure I'm not hiring 50 teachers next year, and that we got something to sustain us till we get back face to face.
Yeah. And I think, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Like my teacher, I have a co-teacher, and she's a hugger. So every kid come in, she's hugging. So now she gets a chance to see the background of it. She's seeing where these kids are coming from. She's seeing that home life,
right?
And you can tell it's taking a toll on her. She see kids laying on mattresses on the floor, and it's like it's taking a toll on her. I can tell, but I mean, that's what you're there for. Like we want to be in them schools because we know this is what our kids are dealing with.
Right.
And if most of them don't have that support at home, so we have to try to provide that support for them.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I mean, for me, I travel baseball, and I tell my kids, I tell my kids in baseball, I told my kids in school, I just like to teach. I just like to coach. Dealing with the parents, dealing with the outside, the administration, dealing with all the other stuff that comes along with it. Basically, it's like, I don't want to have to deal with it. It's like, if I can just come in my classroom, teach my kids, go home, and not deal with any parents and administrators, that'd be the best day ever. I just want to teach. I just want to. I teach. But now I teach physical science. I teach science. So I like blowing up stuff. I like doing different stuff. Talking about different places that I like to go, and I like to connect with my students. So if I can't teach it per se, then it's like, what am I doing? And so if I got to deal with all this paperwork and all this, you got to go here and you got this meeting and whatever, man, you can have that. I just want to,
That's it.
Yeah.
Make it simple.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to chime in on that? So for me as a parent, right? One of the things that is very disheartening to me always, and it's been like this, my son's in 5th grade now. It's been like this since he was in kindergarten, since he was in pre-K. Like when I go to because I'm a very involved parent, as all y'all know. Like I'm at the functions, I'm at the meetings, I'm at the open houses, and one of the things that was a telltale sign for me that the school year was going to be, I already knew it was going to be challenging, even more challenging than I thought, was my son's teacher had an open house to kind of go through what this thing was going to look like. And when I tell you there were 4 people on the call, and I was the only dad on the call. And so that's always been the case. So one of the things that I've always tried to do is to be a partner in the teaching the classroom and find out, you know, which one of these kids does need a laptop, which one of these kids does need, you know, so I can, because I understand that some parents aren't as involved as they should be. So what like for you, talking to a parent that is involved, what can we do to help? Like, what can we do to help you in a virtual environment?
Have your kids ready.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my own kids. Like, what in a virtual, like, if when we was face to face, I would show up at the school and she'd tell me the grade papers, and you know what I mean. Like, I knew that, but like from a I feel so helpless. Like, I can't be at the presence that I was, you know, when they were face to face. So, like, what if you have parents that are looking to do something extra? Like, what are some areas outside of our own household that can maybe assist y'all and make the job a little bit easier?
I think he hit it on the head. Just be ready.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about today. I'm in the background screaming at the mom, like, "Hey, we need you to come over here and log her in." Like, we did that for 15 minutes. Like, we already wasted 15 minutes of class. And then you trying to keep people attention. It's hard. Yeah. If you could just get up, log your kid in, and just make sure they sit in front of their computer for the time that we need them to, that's it.
Yeah, and that's it. They focus, and you don't have a distraction. I mean, just make sure your kid if your kid is not a distraction, then I can deal with the other distraction that's going on in the room. So just make sure that your kid is ready, not a distraction, and prepared for class. Then I can deal with the other kids that's going on in the room. I mean, it's hard to say, you know, what can you do for the other kids, because I mean, you're not in their house, but your kid, just make sure they're ready and make sure that he ain't involved, he or she is not involved in the nonsense that's going on in the classroom, any kind of riffraff. Make sure that he's not involved, he or she is not involved in it, and just prepared to, you know, to give the teacher help in moving forward. That's it.
Yeah. One other thing, Cole, that you could do, and I know because we can't have visitors, there's a pandemic, you can't come to the building, you can't do those things, but you know your kids' friends, making sure their parents get the information, making sure they know, hey, you know there's a login your kid got to do, you know there's a meeting tonight, or your child, you don't have a device, man, you got to get your kid logged in. If you active in your church or however you're doing, virtually or physically, making sure people in your community know how to get connected to the school. That's one way you can help, because if they're not on our call out or they don't have a device, they may not know and they may not connect with us. Right. But you know, if you know, you can say, hey, this is what you need to do because my son's in your child's class. Come on, let's go ahead and make sure you log on, get on your phone, whatever you need to do. That's one thing. Cause the first thing is that make sure your child ready, please. Make sure they're not in the bed, make sure they're dressed, make sure they're ready to go. But that's one thing that parents can do for us, because I miss that parent involvement, because I have parents come in and do things, and parents will come and volunteer in the classroom. We're not even sure when we go back face to face, we have people in the building to volunteer. But you know, it's things like connecting, because I tell parents, we're outside the building, we outside, we still need to work on the outside of the building. So if y'all want to come and do some landscaping, you can help me do that. You know, but things like that, making sure your friends and your colleagues and your kids' parents that you have connections with know what the information is, and they spread the information.
Yeah. And I think the word community plays a big factor in it. Because like when I was growing up, you know, my friends' parents, their parents, they made sure we did what we were supposed to do. Like now it's like every man for themselves. Yeah. And I mean, and in this day and age, we have to help out who we can. Right. I mean, even if it's like, hey, you know, my neighbor need to use my Wi-Fi. You know, I ain't gonna block him out because I know he got kids that need to be in school. Like just simple things. Like I mean, it'll go a long way if we could just get back to that space where we was, you know, when we used to be back in the day with community.
Yeah. Lady,
And for me, guys, I just need my parents to read their email in its entirety. I need them to read for understanding.
Right.
Because I've got so many emails asking me questions that have already been answered in an email that was sent 2 weeks ago.
Right.
They always say, if you want to keep something from us, put it in a book.
Mm.
We don't read. We have got to read and just be patient.
Yeah.
Because there are some very impatient parents. You send an email at 2:30, they want you to respond at 2:31.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the only kid that you have in your class.
Why you
I mean, like, exactly. But just to read, you know, because we don't just send emails out or send information out just to send it.
Yep.
We wanted you to read it so you can understand, so you can be prepared, your kid can be prepared, and we can be productive together.
Right.
I mean, and I've seen teachers go as far as like, hey, the parent can't get it during school hours. They're staying after school. They're sending emails at 9, 10 o'clock at night. They helping people log in 9 to 10 o'clock at night.
Did it last night.
They don't understand the work that's going behind this. Like, I had a parent last night call me at 7:30, like, hey, this is my only time. Can you help me get in? I only got 15 minutes. So we rushing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they don't see that.
Yeah. And that's, you know, me having, I think because I have so many educated friends, you know what I mean? I think it absolutely gives me a different vantage point. And that was one of the things that I was thinking about, like what you just said, Derek, because I've noticed a lot of my friends, they working extra hours. Like, you know what I mean? Like they doing exactly what you said, like helping kids get logged in, find out. I had a parent ask on the open house, before the start of school year, you know, what would you be available on Saturday? And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, like, why would you expect this person to be available on Saturday? But that, you know, is the expectation from some parents. How do we bridge that gap? Like, how do we bridge the gap between, and we're talking about, I think in every situation, you know, there's going to be 20% of people that can always do what they're supposed to do. There's going to be 20% of people that never do what they're supposed to do. But then, you know, that middle ground, you know, we can work with those. So, like, what can we do as a community, as a family, as a parent, or as a parent that wants to help with, like, what can we do to bridge that gap? Like, to help them understand what's really going on and how serious it really is that we need their input.
I mean, at the end of the day, do what you say what you're gonna do, and hold each other accountable. We're not holding each other accountable enough. I mean, we're not doing what we're saying. What we promise. So if you make a promise, you know, keep the promise, and and just getting back to where our word means something, and we actually following through on what we say. I think it's a big thing. So I mean, that community, going back to the community comment, just building that community. And making sure that everybody is accountable, everybody knows their role, fulfilling their role.
And I think that I think the big thing is like the disparities. Like I always go back to this, the disparities in income, zip codes, and all that. That's going to determine a lot of what you get. And I hate to say it, that is going to determine a lot of what you get. Because a lot of my kids at my school, their parents are just trying to make it.
Yeah.
So they're not worried about school. It's not like that anyway, versus a middle-class family or upper middle-class family that's like, okay, well, we're a little comfortable now. We don't have to stress about what we're going to eat tonight. So they can put a little bit more effort, a little more time into it because, they're okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a struggle, because you understand what they're going through, but it's absolute. I mean, the most you can do is just do what you can.
Right.
And to jump on what Derek said earlier is about this pandemic has exposed a lot of things that has been in that disparity gap. We always talk about the achievement gap.
Oh man,
this pandemic has shown it's a digital gap. And that technology piece is so important. And if something happens again and we got to go online with school, your child needs a computer. You got to find a way to invest in the computer. And part of this is that community of learning how to connect people with resources. I've seen countless resources out there where companies are connecting with low-income families to give computers at low rates and low cost. But without that information getting to the right hands, it doesn't get to the right people. But rallying our communities, our churches. When we get back to get the church, you need to have a computer lab. Churches, a couple of laptop parts to have, or Wi-Fi hotspots. So this happens again, guess what? Now we can set up a Wi-Fi spot at our church, because I've seen where kids are going to McDonald's and Taco Bell and places to use the Wi-Fi. You know, so those are things to think about as we talk about community rise. Is hotspots. There
Phone
are
hotspots.
Getting people to donate and stockpiling those things so that it closes down the gap, because this is shown a lot that if you got a computer at home and a printer, that's part of that achievement gap that's missing. I know we have a lot of different circumstances, but that has really shown up as we're trying to service kids and get kids online. Is that I wasn't surprised, but it's shown that the achievement gap starts with the digital gap. And I think our community, how we rally around causes and things that we need, because we've done a good job in some communities of doing food banks and clothing banks and helping in those things. But for kids to compete in an educational world now in 2020 and beyond, they got to have access to a computer. They have to have access to this digital age, and I think that's shown up a lot.
Especially students of color.
Yes.
Especially students of color.
Mm-hmm. I include my Latino and Latina.
Yeah, all my notes.
Yeah. So we got some people checking in, a bunch of dogs. Anthony Liggins, what's going on, brother? And he said, he made a comment, it's all about school district leadership, which is huge. My homie, Leroy Hutchins, Pebblebrook High School represent, he was saying that he appreciates us doing this. I mean, we want to help. Like, I understand anything we can do to help these babies. Tanya Madden, Thomas, what's going on? Like, we'll give a shout out to all my people. But community is huge. I'm thinking about this. As we're having this conversation, one of the things that I'm going to do tomorrow, if I don't do it tonight, is I'm going to create a Facebook group page for my son's class. I'm going to create try to get as many, because his teachers and I, they're great. Like and if I told them, hey, I want you to put this on on Class Dojo, anybody who wants to join this group, so we can build that community, and it just dawned on me. Like, I think somebody said they have, I think Tara said that they have like a group meet for the teachers, which have for the class, so that we can make sure these babies can get everything they can do. If there's anything I can do to help, I definitely want to do it. Oh, I thought somebody said something. Okay. So, we're not going to solve the educational problems, disparities between school districts. I'm going to tell you, my son goes to school. Well, one of them is in Clinton County. My girlfriend's son is in Gwinnett County. But they gave out, Chromebooks. You had to do schedule time to come pick up the Chromebook, and I can imagine that's not happening in every school district. So if people that are watching this, parents, other administrators, other district leaders, if they're watching this video, like, what would be the one thing that you think that we could do that would have the most immediate impact? And we talk about low-hanging fruit here, right? We can't, can't rewrite like legislature, we can't get extra funding, but like low-hanging fruit. Like, what are some things that y'all think that can be done, like that can have an immediate impact on helping bridge this gap between, for the community?
One of the things that popped up in the Wi-Fi spot, I read somewhere where one district, it might have been the state or somewhere, were doing buses. They were making a bus Wi-Fi spots, and they were parking them outside apartment complexes. Everybody on this call and everybody in the community got a cell phone at T-Mobile, AT&T. They still got Sprint, Nextel, whatever. You can go to those people and say, hey, I pay my bill here. You in our community, have you ever thought about donating a Wi-Fi spot for this community or this apartment complex for helping the kids out because they need Wi-Fi? We pay you money for our cell phone. Every month we don't miss the bill. What can you do to help us in our community to do that? Because there's a lot of, just like a down spots with cell phones, there are a lot of Wi-Fi spots that need to be connected. Because we can give you the device and we give devices, but I can't help you at home with the Wi-Fi.
Right.
So, that's one thing I think that we can do. Churches, places that are large gathering spots, all they have to do is turn on, as Derek say, share your Wi-Fi. Let people know, hey, come use our Wi-Fi for free if you got a kid in school and you don't have internet.
Yeah. And my friend Leroy just chimed in and said that Marietta City Schools is doing that bus Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's where I read it. And it was somewhere else they were shipping them out. I can't remember. Marietta did it first, and there was some other places that were shipping out buses and retrofitting them for Wi-Fi.
Wow. What else? Anybody else got any ideas what we can do?
I think that the districts and parents and everybody else involved with education should and can understand what the teachers are going through, because they're on the front line. Yep. They're the ones that's fighting the battle right now.
Yep.
And if they don't feel appreciated or supported, it's gonna be a tough day.
Yeah.
Because right now teachers they're frustrated because some of them got to go back to school. They don't feel safe. Teachers are frustrated because they're getting cussed out every day because of stuff that they have no control over. Yeah. Then you get furlough days. So then now you're not getting paid for what you should be doing. It's coming from all different angles right now, and it's only hitting the teachers. Yeah. The hardest. So
word to the parents. Support the teachers as best you can. Take them some flowers. Give them a Starbucks card. Buy them some coffee. Because every little bit helps. What are your thoughts on that?
What keeps ringing in my head is we are a product of our environment. Mm-hmm. And I just keep thinking about this kid. He sent me a message during class the other day. And this kid said, Miss Troy, I can't join your class because the music is too loud in the car. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself, why are you in the car? You're supposed to be in front of your device, somewhere, where you can be in class. Because if you were in the building, you wouldn't be in somebody's car in loud music. So it's almost like we really have to, like said earlier, hold each other accountable. Like who's holding that child's parent accountable for having that kid where he's supposed to be so he can learn? We have to hold each other accountable. And we have to be real with each other.
Right.
We have to keep it real.
We got to be able to look through the eyes of other people. I think a lot of times, a lot of people, we pass judgment on other people's situation and other people's situations, not knowing what they're going through, what they have to deal with, whether it be teachers, whether it be students, whether it be parents, etc. I mean, we got to have some empathy and understand that everything is not how it seems, how it looks, and just be willing to open our eyes, our ears, and our hearts to what's going on in the community, and be willing to step into people's shoes and just hear it from their point of view as opposed to from our point of view.
Right. No, great point. And so, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the last thing. I think that everybody should also respect the teacher's choice also, and whatever it is. But what I'm seeing a lot of is, everybody has a choice of what, they're getting a choice on something. The teachers are not getting a choice on anything. Right. And that's troubling because you're pretty much saying that they don't count. We're going to do what we want to do, and that's it. So just give the teachers a choice. If you're giving everybody else a choice, give the teachers a choice too.
Yeah.
Now, and all that respect that was out there in March.
Exactly.
It may bring it back to right now and keep it when we go back face to face or whatever. But March, we were the superheroes. Everybody, the teachers couldn't do enough for you.
We love you. Pay them $100,000.
Exactly. It needs to be NBA salary, but all that is disappeared. Bring it back.
I still think y'all should be getting NBA salaries. I do. I promise I do. But I promise I do. So I was thinking I was going to try my best not to make this call political. I don't want to put nobody on the spot. But if you is there any faction that's going on with anything that's going on right now that you feel is supporting of the education system or the teachers? I don't want to endorse any side or anything. I said I was gonna keep this non-political, but I'm just curious, because one of the things that we talk about on other shows is like which party is doing something for the school system, and traditionally there have been some cuts recently, like to education. So like, what do you want the parents to know in regards to that? Like if you have anybody that isn't sure, like what's going to do the most for the schools from a facility standpoint, from a tools and resources standpoint. So like I said, I don't want to make this a political conversation, but just real quick, I'm just curious.
Logic and sound choices. Right now, we just need some logic, people who can make sound decisions. Me being a scientist, and hearing, people, bash, science and how science is basically built, different things in this science. In this world. And now all of a sudden, science is questioned, and now, you don't believe science and whatever. So I think just logic and common sense is, it doesn't have anything to do with politics. But at the end of the day, we need somebody who's logical, who has common sense, and who's not, inflaming things that's going on right now. So logical, common sense, and just non-inflammatory.
Great point.
And Corey, before I get on this call, I don't know if y'all read this, but we have to do a waiver for us not to have state testing every year. Mm-hmm. Well, this morning we just got the state superintendent got an email from the U.S. Department of, I'm reading it straight from my phone, U.S. Department of Education and Secretary of Education, y'all know who she is, right, saying that not to expect those waivers for testing this school year. So we're going to start off digitally, and all this pandemic, we're still going to be responsible for testing kids for high stakes testing.
And show growth.
The government's not going to give us that waiver this year. And rightfully so, our state superintendent went off. He wrote this letter and just pretty much went off how unfair that is. But that came from the U.S. Department of Education, Secretary DeVos, said this morning. So we're going to be doing high stakes testing in Georgia. I don't know what that's going to look like.
And do you understand the amount of pressure that's going to put on teachers and parents and administrations?
Man, I feel it. Yeah.
It's going to be nuts.
I'm like, I ain't gonna let this bother me. They ain't gonna see about you on this foolishness like this, because we already know. So they can come at me that they won't do. I'm gonna nod to yes, sir.
Hopefully we can have a change in the administration to where that letter from her is null and void. So that's the plan. Get out and vote. We can change that. That craziness that's being set up. Basically, you're setting up teachers, you're setting up schools, you're setting up parents, you're setting up students for failure. It's like, we in a pressure situation, but you want the same results as if we were in a pressure situation, and that's not like it's not gonna happen.
And I think that it's not about political party, because I think that in both political parties, education has been getting cut every year.
Yep.
So it's just really about how they view us as a whole. They want us to put out top-notch quality kids and education, but they don't want to put out that money that's going to take to get there. So, with the cuts keep coming, the resources are going to keep getting lower and lower, and we're going to have less things to work with. Teachers are being creative, but at the end of the day, when you're working with the bare minimum, it's hard.
Yeah.
And, we'll make it through, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Mrs. Troy?
Get out and vote. That's my answer. Vote. We need to vote. We need to encourage our people to vote. Get them to the polls any way we can. We have to vote.
And local election too.
So I just got a response to the waiver on the test, and it looks like Pandora Clinton is saying, read the response from the Georgia State Superintendent. Read the response that they wrote. He is not in agreement. So
no, he is not in agreement at all. He went off.
Yeah,
I posted it on my page. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Look, so we coming up on time, man. I just want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I think this is something that we should continue. I would love to have y'all back on. Maybe we can get like a panel with some parents and kind of like try to help bridge that gap. But y'all, because I personally know each and every one of you. Like, I just want y'all to all know that I personally pray for y'all. And I pray that we get through this year with our sanity. we get through this year with our health. But I wanted to leave with a parting shot. I'm just curious, because you have a very, very difficult life, right? What are you doing to unwind? Like, what are some things that y'all are doing to decompress, to keep you from blowing your top every day? And we'll start later first, Tara.
Well, you already know I bake. I bake cakes. I have a cake business now. During the pandemic, when we were at home, I started baking back in May, and it turned into a business. I had no idea it was gonna go there, but it turned into a business. So that's what I do.
So I'll definitely be bringing you back on when I have my, my entrepreneur show. So we can talk about baking then for sure. One of my friends, Tamika Jordan, she just wanted to say thank you to the educators. I got that from a lot of people. Thank you for the educators and some of the people that are chiming in. What about you, Dr. Hogan? What are you doing to relax?
Well, I'm trying not to drink because it's too people I like to become an alcoholic. But my first love, I was an art major, so I'm in the studio. You see behind me, I do a little artwork. Spend time with kids. Try to kick back and get some of that wisdom from my first grade boy child. They got lots of wisdom, so that's what I did.
Awesome. I'm glad. Coleman.
For me, man, just spending time with the kids and the family. Just trying to get outside and do that type of thing. But I'm big into photography. And trying to plan my next travel adventure that I'm going on. That I missed this past summer. I plan to go to Africa, and so trying to replan that and all that type of stuff. But yeah, just connecting with the family, connecting with myself, trying to figure out, I haven't done that in a while as much as I could have. So connecting with myself, figuring out, what I like and what I don't like, again, and just trying to figure out, how to have fun in different ways than I haven't had in the past.
Gotcha. Mr. Johnson.
Man, it's about that red cup with me. It's about that red cup.
Right.
I can't even lie. I ain't gonna be political correct about it. It's that red cup.
Yeah.
But
I got a lot of teacher friends, so you're not the only one. You know what I mean? You're not the only one.
Of course, after hours.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, look, family. Thank you again.
With my son, man.
You said what there?
I spend a lot of time with my son now, and everybody else. So,
the thing that the reason I asked that question is, before we go, it's like a lot of things that teachers would normally do to unwind and relax aren't available anymore. Because me and Coleman, we go to live shows a lot. Like there's no concerts. I mean, they got the drive-up concerts. They got a hot one coming up too. We might need to check that out. Y'all probably got tickets.
Okay.
But a lot of things that you would normally do are no longer available. So that's one of the things I thought about when I was going to bring y'all on, because I'm for real. From my heart, I do think about y'all all the time. We appreciate everything that y'all do for these babies. I hope all of y'all's households and all of y'all's villages are blessed. I appreciate everybody for joining us this evening. Hopefully we'll be able to get through it soon, man. Y'all take care, man.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank y'all.
All right, man.
All right.